My name is Alexis June, and I am going to inform you on the game of basketball. Have y'all ever been to a basketball game and had no clue what was going on? Well, I hope today, after this speech, that you will have some general knowledge about the game of basketball. I chose this topic to talk about because it is something that's very important to me and I love doing it. I think that I am qualified to talk about this subject, basketball, because I have played basketball since I was in 3rd grade. The 3 main points that I'm going to talk to you about is first, the general information about basketball, second, the positions of the court, and third, some of the calls that the refs may use. It's time for tip-off. Have you ever heard the term slam dunk and everyone start yelling and screaming? Well, that's because it's a pretty awesome thing. A slam dunk is when a player jumps in the air and slams the ball through the hoop. The actual definition of basketball from dictionary.com is a game played between 2 teams of 5 players which goals are scored by throwing the ball into the netted hoop. Basketball was originally created in 1891 in Springfield, Massachusetts. The first hoops were actually peach baskets and the first backboards were actually made of wire, according to factmonsters.com. Sports Reg states that the hoops you see today were created in 1906 and the backboards you see today were created in 1909. You start off the game with your tip-off. Your tip-off is when you have one player from each team go to the center of the court with the ref. The ref has the ball and throws it in the center of the 2 players. The 2 players' objective is to get the ball and hit it to one of their teammates. You have offense and defense. Offense is when you have the ball. When on offense, your goal is to shoot and score. She shoots, she scores is used a lot. By making the ball in the hoop, you score. The points you can score consist of 1, 2, and 3. You can shoot a 2-foot shot, which would be all of this area, which counts as 2 points. You can shoot a 3-point shot, which is all of the area outside of the arch, and it counts for 3 points. You get 1 free throw if you are fouled and you make your shot, but you also get the points that you made for the shot. You are all allowed to shoot up to 3 free throws if you shoot a 3-point shot and are fouled, and you miss it, and you are allowed to shoot 2 free throws if you miss the shot, and then you are allowed to shoot 1 free throw shot if you make your shot. Defense is a very important aspect of basketball. Defense is when you are trying to not let the other team score and you have to guard them. You have 2 major types of defense, a zone defense and a man-to-man defense. The most common zone defense is a 2-3, meaning that you have 2 players at the top and 3 at the bottom. You don't want your 3 players at the bottom to be under the goal, but you don't want them to be too far out of the goal. You want your 2 players on top to be at about the free throw line on each side and not too far outside the arch. Rebounding and blocking out are 2 major factors in offense and defense. Rebounding is when you jump up and you get the ball. Blocking out is when you widen your stance and get low. Now that you have a little bit of understanding about the general information of basketball, let's jump into the positions. The first position that I'm going to talk about is the point guard, which is the person who dribbles the ball down the court. Dribbling is bouncing the ball with one hand. Your point guard is normally the one who calls your plays. The next person that you have is your left wing. Your left wing is generally a good 3-point shooter and is on the left side of the court, but outside at the top of the key, which would be here. You also have your right wing, which would be on the right side at the top of the key. Then the next person you have is your baseline shooter or runner. Your baseline person literally runs the baseline, which means they run from bottom side to side. The next person that you have is your post player. You have a high post and a low post. Your low post normally runs from block to block, which are these 2 blocks, and then your high post is normally from this side of the free throw line to this side of the free throw line. Depending on what side the ball is on is the side that they're going to be on. Now that you know a little bit more about basketball, which meaning positions, let's get into where it gets a lot more complicated, the refs. If you play a sport, you've had your experience with the referees. You might not agree all the time with what they call, but you have to accept it and move on. According to Ducksters.com, a charge is called on the player with the ball when they run into a player that has position on them. It is normally an offensive foul. Blocking fouls are the next one I'm going to talk about. Blocking fouls are very common in the game of basketball. A blocking foul is when the defensive player uses their body to stop the person with the ball from moving. A double dribble is when a player dribbles the ball with two hands simultaneously or continues to dribble after the ball comes to rest or with both hands, according to the Webster Dictionary. This is how you double dribble with using two hands, and then this is how you double dribble with resting. You dribble, then you pick it up and dribble again. Now let's go to my conclusion. Now that you have some general information about basketball, I hope that you can get to a basketball game and not be totally lost. I hope that you will consider playing and at least trying it out. And I hope that you get the same love that I got from basketball since I've been playing for 3rd grade. That was a buzzer beater.